Praise be to Jesus. Hi. Okay, so we're going to read to you this here. The following translation stems from a longer article written in German by Christian Geyer and published on the 7th of October 2018 in the prominent German newspaper Frankfurter something or other. I couldn't even come close to pronouncing that. LifeSite News presents to our readers excerpts from this article, which gives English-speaking readers an idea how Pope Francis's silence with regard to Archbishop Vigano's allegations is perceived, and how it affects the German bishops in their own conduct in light of their own ongoing sex abuse crisis. Okay, let me scroll here a little bit. The article titled, "The Church is Silent from the Head Down," suggests that the bishops now imitate their Pope. The translation below was kindly provided by Alexandra Moore. All right, so I'm going to read some of this to you. We still just have to wait. Eventually, every question gets settled, even by way of a non-handling of sorts, through hushing up on the one hand and resignation on the other. So one question is, what did the Pope know and when did he know it? Did he or did he not shelter sex abusers and even promote them, not only in the past as Archbishop of Buenos Aires, where currently it's particularly women there who are reproaching him for this, but also after he was elected Pope. And yes, even still, when in recent weeks at an in-air press conference above the clouds, some piercing questions were evaded in an attempt to continue the cover-up of all cover-ups. This ongoing unanswered question wears thin. Most recently, it has been justified once again in the allegations made by Carlos Maria Vigano, who was the Apostolic Nuncio in the U.S. from 2011 to 2016, and who on the 25th of August put a dossier into circulation, which turns the papal rallying cry of no tolerance into nothing more than hypocrisy. The dossier asserts the Pope has instead fostered clerical sex offenders, in particular Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, who abused minors and was also known to sexually exploit seminarians dependent upon him for their careers. Did Francis, or did he not, cancel the sanctions of the previous Pope, Benedict XVI, against McCarrick, which were known primarily since 2013, and turn him instead into an influential figure of the pontificate? Is there a common papal pattern going on here when it comes to sexual misdeeds and standing clerics? Are they only pulled from circulation once there is no longer any other choice due to the media's demanding of action? That would mean that the Pope simply depends upon delays and his sitting things out. Indeed, this continued ignoring of the question threatens to put the question itself into jeopardy. So, questions fall silent, peter out. This also occurs just because other questions surface, causing the unanswered left behind questions to exit from the line of fire. It gets plowed under the general consensus machine, which makes all questions equally important and therefore unimportant. This, of course, raises serious doubts as to the concept of truth and knowledge. So let's continue here a little bit. This has to do with the German bishops here. Wouldn't this insistence on holding the secretum pontificum, in the case of Archbishop Vigano, just then be synonymous with canon laws safeguarding the cover-up? Vigano recently justified himself regarding his breach of secrecy in a new communication put out on various internet platforms over the weekend. It is, he points out, the purpose of such a confidentiality clause cannot possibly, not even one little bit, consist in covering up crimes or allowing the participation in them. The silence of the shepherds, which has been identified worldwide as the cardinal problem of the ecclesiastical abuse, can now hardly be sold as an official duty. Even Francis, I am not saying a word, will not be able to use his higher insights and wisdom in order to back up his chosen silence, unless he wants to discredit the principle of personal responsibility in his church and upset the credibility of his teaching authority, so to speak. Nevertheless, the elimination of unpleasant questions on the aforementioned in-flight press conferences, most recently on his way back from the Baltic states, follows this pattern. Questions regarding Vigano were initially deferred. First, the questions about the trip, and that's what he said on the, on the plane, to kind of get around the direct questions concerning what we're reading, and then they no longer came into play. I was told that dinner is now ready and that the flight is short. Apparently, well, that's in quotes. He must have said that. I missed that one. It is no wonder, though disgusting, that the German bishops have sensed the need to follow the example of their pope and made sure that the naming of personal responsibilities on behalf of bishops or even just from concrete dioceses just wasn't part of the overall design of their recently published investigative study on abuse. At a press conference last week in Fulda, everyone held his breath for a moment when journalist Christine Florin posed the following question to the German bishops. Here we have more than 60 bishops gathered together. Is there one or two of you who, in the course of your deliberations, have said, I have so much personal guilt on me that I can no longer carry the responsibility of this office anymore? Wow. Only when Reinhard Cardinal Marx, the president of the German Bishops' Conference, after a short pause, replied with a terse but loud no, could all of those present breathe freely again. And that's the end of the article. We'll talk to you later. Bye.